Yeah, good, lovely peoples of the YouTuberverse. So what I did yesterday, I made me a short about tank sizes for leopard geckos, and a guy, a Bruno Mato, I hope I'm saying that right, could be Bruno Mato, Bruno Mato, Bruno Mato, I don't know. But this gentleman right here come up into the place, waltzing on in. He heard my little factoid about the 60 seconds I got, talking about the tank size. Like, I agree with the tank size. However, there are things about the temperatures. And also, there's a possibility of housing another leopard gecko, blah, 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 blah. I'll get to that in a second about, I know it's controversial, right? Putting in one leopard gecko in with another one. So, I'll get to that in a minute. But, Bruno Meadow, thank you, my dude. You are the first person to come up with a actual comment about, something I can work off of. Everyone's been doing, like, fun comments and stuff, saying first and whatnot, silly stuff. But you're actually someone who gave me something to work off. So, this high-quality video for today is going to be about what he was talking about. And yes, you do need lighting and heating for leopard geckos. So leopard geckos do not need a UVB, but a UVA is very important. And also back in this rock, the little round gray rock here that lady's kind of crawling out of because she sees I'm over here, that does have a heating pad, and the dirt there is much, much thinner. You do need a hot side, which is this side she's on now. She's been resting for today. Now, leopard geckos are crepuscular, which means they're mostly active during the evening and the wee hours of the morning, so the dusk and dawn is where they're most active. But they will be up at all hours of both night and day. They're mostly like cats. Like, they have the same sleep schedule similar to cats, and funny enough, even chinchillas are crepuscular. So crepuscular is something that means they do kind of operate more in the twilight hours, sort of deal. Anyway, but because of that, you're going to see them active at night and day. They're going to get used to your schedule. But outside of that, the heating and cooling, enclosure, setups, all this. As you can see here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different hides. So usually you want at least 3 hides. Over here in the corner, that's her hot hide. As you can see, I have the lamp offset from the heating pad. Why is that? You don't want to put your lamp over the heating pad because that will cook your gecko. You don't want to do that. You want to have a hot side, but with something like a 40-gallon that I'm working with here, I do have enough space to put one point of heat in one corner and another point of heat somewhere offset, not quite in a corner, but on the same side that I want her to know and recognize is her hot side. And then when we get over here to the right side, as you've seen here before, this is live bamboo. Live bamboo is good for leopard geckos and stuff like that, things that don't eat vegetables because they will not ingest it and they will not get sick from it. If you do going to use bamboo, do not use it for turtles or something that will eat them, and it will be very bad for their tum-tums. You do not want to have an upset tum-tum for any kind of animal, and bamboo for any sort of leaf-eating gecko, reptile of any form. Mostly it is for turtles you don't want to put them in with. But here, I do have this. This is her humid side. A cricket there. I do have a couple crickets in here, and I watch them, and they kind of go about. That right here, this is her humid hide. When she wants to shed, when she wants to kind of like even lay eggs, she will go to this part of the tank and do all this, that, and the other. Why I do have this as kind of a humid side here and everything, this is live soil. I will say be very careful with the substrate you use for leopard geckos. Never use sand. Always make sure. I'm going to go over here real quick. Sorry, bear with me. So check this out. You see how it kind of falls between my fingers? It's very loose, very small granules. This is the kind of thing you're going to want to look for if you do want to use substrate for a leopard gecko. I recommend if you're new to leopard gecko care, go ahead and do more so the reptile carpet. Get you 2 different carpets so when you're washing one, you can just replace a fresh, brand new one right in the tank while the other one's washing. If you are going to wash a reptile carpet, use so for just the wash cycle. Don't dry it. Hang dry it, and it will be all good. She was on reptile carpet for a long time. The reason I switched is because for some reason this leopard gecko lady here, she has the worst time with toe shed. She has all her toes still, and I've worked very hard with her. I've spent like half an hour plus just making sure those toes get plucked. but she does have a problem with toe shed, and sometimes that end of the tail might get a little bit of shed on it too. So the sandish sort of quality, it's not really sand, I'm sorry, the loosish, dirtish sort of quality. I'm making up words, guys. We're going live. But anyway, you do want small granules for their substrate. If you are going to do substrate, do not use sand. It clumps. It can cause impaction in their stomachs. That is the end of that. And then when we go over here, for leopard geckos, you want their hot side to be pretty much about 80, 85 degrees. The max 90. I would not go over 90 for a leopard gecko. They're from Middle East and can stretch as far as probably West India. So taking that in mind, it is hot there, but they do spend a lot of their time during the midday and in the hottest parts of the day underground or in caves to escape the heat. They might be seen basking a little bit just to warm their tummies to help them digest their food. And otherwise, they don't really like it as hot as something like a bearded dragon might. So be very careful with their heating. Don't overheat the poor gecko. This side, the cool side, you do want it to be like, 70, 75 at the worst. Once they get into 65 degrees and lower, they start sort of going into, a hibernation, a sleep stasis, if you will. And normally, if you were to breed a leopard gecko, you would want to sort of recreate that sort of system, I would say, that sort of thing. Make it sort of, they have their winter, and usually after that, the females will come out ready to make eggs. And this is for breeders. I don't breed her. Lady here is a solo gecko. And now that we're at the end, and I just said the solo gecko thing, let's segue into what I was just talking about. Oh gosh, blurry, sorry. Let's segue into talking about what I was just saying with why that's controversial with the housing geckos together. So, you never want to put two males into something like this, Males will fight for their territory. Think of a male leopard gecko the way you would a male betta fish. You don't want to put them together. There are some exceptions, but even brothers in the gecko family, which geckos lay a clutch of 2 eggs at a time, usually anywhere between 2 to 12, maybe even 16. I don't remember the exact numbers. Again, I'm not a breeder. I'm only a caretaker. But they will lay a clutch of 2 eggs at a time for months in a row. And those eggs can be male or female based on how you try and incubate them and the heating. But it does work better to house females together. It works much better if you get them very young. And if you are going to house them, make sure that each gecko has their own sort of space. So, for example, lady here has her hot hide. She's in her hot hide. If you have 2 geckos, you need 2 hot hides, 2 moist hides, and 2 cool hides in order for them to regulate their body temperature and make them feel comfortable. Leopard geckos mostly live their lives during the day underground or in cave structures that were already built for them. So they are a shy gecko species. You want to keep that in mind. And they will fight for that territory. Where they're from, it's give or take. You get it, and you got to protect it. So as far as what Bruno Mato said, thank you, man. You inspired a fun little high-quality video of me talking about more so heating and gecko care. You can house leopard geckos. It is a higher level sort of, I would say, understanding of how to care for leopard geckos. It is not something to do for your first leopard gecko. Always do what is most comfortable. And in some cases, people will argue with you. I've had people get mad at me back when Lady was back on lizard carpet talking about, well, they need dirt, this, that, and the other. I was like, yeah, they I guess, but I'm afraid of impaction, this, that, and the other myself. And when I saw that her toe shed was bad, this particular gecko had such a poor little problem. Yes, you did. Yes, you did with your geckos. Sheds. You had so much troubles. She's staring. Stare back, guys. Staring contest. Go! We lose. You guys, thank you so much if you stayed along for this long of the ride here. None of these are scripted yet. I'm just busting out my phone and just throwing information out there based on how I tell people with what I do at work. I appreciate you guys. Anyone who does watch all the way through the end of this, thank you, thank you, thank you. I've been through a lot recently. So for the animals I do have and the ones that ain't here anymore, I'm glad you guys just watched
documentaries. Thank you. So anyway, I'm going to say peace for now. We'll work on something more specifics. We're working on the technology side of things, trying to get my stuff right. But anyway, y'all have a good one, and peace.